Let's talk about how to use the Dispo Dragon's price strike engine. To get started, you're going to go to strike.dispodragons.com. It is going to ask you for your license key. You should have gotten that in your email. I'm going to punch mine in, and then I'm going to pause the recording while it gets me inside. Once you're inside, you're going to see a few things. You can toggle between light and dark, depending on what you like to see. I tend to like the darker stuff, so I'm going to keep it as dark. The next thing I want to show you is the tutorial here, which is obviously available. You click this, and it opens up this video so that you could see it. I also want you to know about the free property data. So when you click this, it's going to take you to Prime Tracers. Now, Prime Tracers will give you unlimited data on properties, so you can download property lists. They just won't be skip traced unless you sign up for their account and pay for the skip tracing. Now, to sign up, it's absolutely free. All you're paying for is for skip tracing. That is it. So if you ever want the telephone numbers and the email addresses, this is what you're going to be paying. But if you just want property data, it's absolutely free. You can get access to all the APN numbers. You can get access to the property sizes. Now, why is this important? Because there are some places on Zillow where, for whatever reason, property dimensions might not show up. So you won't be able to see their square footage. So you're going to need them. So this is a good tool to have because it's absolutely free. All right. So now you click on property data. You're going to need to know the property ARV, and you're going to need to know the property repairs. Let's talk about the ARV for now. Now, I've already pre-selected a property. I chose this one. I found it on the market, and this one is a fixer, which is a perfect example for us to use. It doesn't have to be an on-market property. In other words, you don't need a property that's currently for sale. You can do this with any property, even properties that are not for sale. So if you were talking to a seller direct, you would be negotiating directly with them. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find out what this property would be worth after it has been repaired. Now, in this particular case, I've chosen a property in Houston, and the reason I chose a property in Houston is because Texas is a non-disclosure state. Now, normally when I comp, I'll just open up two different windows on Zillow, and I will look for my comps once I have mapped it out. In this particular case, because it's non-disclosure, I can't do that, so I'm going to go to Redfin. Redfin is a really good site for showing comparables in non-disclosure states. I've already opened up my map, so I'm looking at where it's at right now, and I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see it's in South Houston. It's right where the 610 and the 288 connect. Now let me give you certain rules about comping. Number one, you can't cross major freeways or major highways. So, for instance, if someone says, well, I saw a property that sold over here on South Side and it sold for $300,000, I want that same price, you're not going to be able to use that property as a comparable. It has to be in this area right here. So we don't cross over major freeways, highways. We don't cross natural or man-made boundaries. We do not cross over hills, mountains, streams, rivers, lakes. So if this property, for instance, let's say this was a river, and same thing, they were on that side, I would not use them as a comparable. All my comps need to be in this area. And remember that all my comps, I want to find properties that have sold and have been rehabbed and repaired. So in this particular case, I'm going to copy the zip code. I'm going to open up Redfin. I'm going to paste it in there. And then I'm going to look for comparables. Now, when you first do this, it's going to show you all the properties that are currently for sale. Now, right now, it's a little glitchy. There we go. So this is what you see. You see all the properties for sale. I don't want that. I want the properties that have sold. That is what is most important to me. And I want the properties that have sold in the last month. So I click Done. I'm going to remove the outline, and I'm going to make sure that I am following the rules that I just gave you. So I can't cross over there, and I can't cross over here. Now, what you can do is you can actually just draw so that you stay within your boundaries. Okay? So the best comps for me would probably be the ones in this area, but I'm going to show you all of them. Now, we've got these sold. I want to see the ones in the last month. You can go as far as 6 months, but I want the ones in the last month. Then I'm going to set up my filters. I only want houses. For square footage, now, let's talk about these rules. It's 20% up and 20% down for square footage. So I can look as low as, maybe 1,400, as high as 2,000. Okay, now year built, 20 years up, 20 years down. For lot size, 20% up, 20% down. Sometimes people see bedroom and bathroom counts and then they think, well, I have to only compare it to 4 beds. Well, ideally, in a perfect world, that would be great, but you can compare them to 3 bedrooms, 1 bath if you really have to. You would just make adjustments, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so here are my comps. Now, square footage, I'll go as low as 15. I'll go as high as 2,000. I'm not going to worry about the lot size. I should have told you that earlier. Oh, I did say lot size, 20% up, 20% down. Year built, 20 years up, 20 years down. And I already have my time frame. So we've got 3 homes that have sold. So in this period, we've got one for 235, one for 210, and one for 225. Let's see if any of them have actually been flipped. Remember, I want to see houses that have been flipped, rehabbed. You can kind of tell when a property has been flipped or rehabbed. There's a lot of brights and whites and white countertops. The white countertops are the dead giveaway. New appliances are a dead giveaway. Blue cellophane on the appliances is a dead giveaway. This is a flip. This one sold for $235. This is a great, great comp. Remember what I said earlier about the 3-bed, 2-bath versus the 4-bed, 2-bath? Well, ours is a 4-bed, 2-bath. The one that sold is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So it's lacking 1 bedroom. I can make an adjustment here. For bedrooms, I make adjustments of $25,000 up or down depending on whether they have an extra bedroom or they are lacking an extra bedroom. For bathrooms, I'm going to go up or down $15,000. Okay, now in this case, they are missing an extra bedroom, which means that if they had that 4th bedroom, I would adjust it up $25,000, which would bring this to $260,000 because ours has a 4-bed. Right? So that brings us to $260,000 now, which means I believe our value is $260,000 fixed up. All right. Let's look at some other comps. We've got another one here at 210. I don't think this one is flipped. Nope. Let's see. Maybe it is. This looks, well, the appliances are a little older. It does have new countertops. It looks like it has new cabinetry. I just don't think it is completely flipped, but I'm going to take a look at it. And look, it has 5 beds. So I would actually have to take away $25,000 from this one. But let's go down and let's take a look if this is a flip. How do you know if something is a flip? Based on whether or not it has sold in the last year. So the last time that this property actually sold was, wow, they've been trying to sell it for a while. Look at that. So these are all listing removed. So it sold in December, but when did it sell before December? How long have they owned it? So they bought it in January 30th of 2024. We don't know the price, right? Because remember, it's a non-disclosure state, so non-disclosure states don't publish the prices, but it does publish the last time that it was listed and around what price it was listed for. So in this case, when it went pending, it was about 210 or something like that. 209 was the last list price when it went pending. So this one's for 210. Now we have one at 260, 210, but I'm not going to use that because it's not a flip. Then we've got another. I remember I want flipped properties. Here is another one. This is very, very clean, very, very nice. Not a flipped property. I can tell based on the flooring and based on the cabinetry and the countertops. So this one I'm not going to use as a comparable either, but it's good for me to note. 225. Okay. So based on that, I think that our property is still worth 260, but I'm going to go back just a little bit more to see if I can find. Let's go 3 months. And look what we find. We got one at 257, and then we got another one at 260. Let's look at this one. 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,000 square feet. This is a flip. Right? 260. I've got one at 260. 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,000 square feet. So this has an extra bathroom that ours doesn't. So I would actually have to bring the price down 15,000. So that would bring it down to 245. Fair enough. Then I've got another one here for 257. 4-bed, 2-bath, 1850. This is also a flip. You can tell. But let's check the history just to be safe. Last time it sold was in October 2025. And prior to that, it was sold. No, it is not a flip. It's just a really, really nice home, I believe. Really, really nice. Okay. Oh, no, it did sell. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay. Anyway, this one sold for 260. I'm still going to stand by my numbers of 260,000. Okay, I still believe that. Now, in terms of repairs, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to estimated repairs. So we've got our comps, we believe it. We go to Dispo Do It. Yes, enter manually, or no, I need to look it up. It's going to give you some options. What's the square footage? Ours is 1703. Send. Now, is it turnkey? Is it lipstick? Is it rehab? Rehab, roof, tear down? What's the difference? You can click on what's the difference, and it'll tell you the difference between all of them. I'm going to tell you that 80% of the time it's just going to be a rehab. Okay, and not, well, 80 to 90% of the time it's going to be between these two. Okay, it's either going to be a rehab or a rehab plus roof. I've looked at this property, and based on what I've seen and based on the photos, I think this is a rehab plus roof. Just based on what I've seen, it looks like it's going to need a new roof. I believe it'll need a new roof. So I'm going to go with the 55. Okay, rehab plus roof. It calculates it for me. I don't have to do anything. My offer is $98,000. So this price engine tells you what you should offer, so that you could earn $98.04, and you're going to sell it to an investor for $107,000. I know it's listed for $145, but our maximum offer on this one would be, out of that $145, it would be $98,047. Now, you can do a couple things. You can lower your assignment fee, and you can increase your investor ROI, or what if you've got someone who's thinking about buying this and they said $93,000 is a lot to fix this property? I can probably get it done for $70,000. Well, guess what? Now you can actually offer a little bit more. So let's bring this back to 10%. 10% is roughly where you want it to be. This is auto calibrated to get you the optimal price so that you could earn 10% as an assignment fee, and for your investor to earn 15% on their return on cash, net return, 15%, because that's what their target is. The idea here is to create a win-win-win situation. So a win for the seller. They're getting 90% of the the purchase price. You're getting 10% as an assignment fee. So they win, you win, and the investor wins, reaching his or her goals of 15% as their assignment fee. Okay, excuse me, as their return on investment. So the calculator does all the work for you. All you have to do is you just have to come up with the after repaired value. The repairs, again, you just go to the Dispo Do It, and it'll do it for you. So you don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is the ARV, to calculate the ARV. Now, we do have other tools, and if you're interested, let us know, where it'll calculate the ARV for you. AI will do that part for you, so you don't even have to do that, and it'll tell you precisely what to offer so that you can get your offers accepted, and so that you could create a win-win situation every single time.